Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bible class. We are studying 1 John chapter 3, and we're going to look at verses 13, 14, and 15. Yeah, we're going to get 3 verses today. I'm being ambitious. Well, maybe we'll get 3 verses today. We'll see. I'm going to share the screen and read those verses. There we go. Let's do this. 1 John 3. We looked at 11 and 12 last time. What's the message that we've heard from the beginning? Well, we should love one another. Not like Cain, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. And why did he slay him? Wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. We know that we have passed from death to life, or death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him. All right. So we have, marvel not. Don't be surprised. Don't be amazed. Actually, to marvel is, we'll look it up. Marvel is to wonder, to admire, to marvel or wonder, to wonder at, to marvel. I was looking for the word amazed there. You're amazed about something, but well, that's what wondering is, isn't it? You're not wondering about something, but wow, look at that. You're looking with wonder at something or with amazement. So marvel not. Don't be amazed. Don't be surprised, my brethren, if the world hates you. Expect that. In this case, when he says, don't marvel if the world hates you, well, why do we marvel? We marvel because we I just lost my train of thought. Why do we marvel? Well, we marvel because DC doesn't have anything good, but no, honestly, we marvel because we're surprised about something, because we're not expecting something. So the world hates you and why does the world hate me? Holy cow, the world. And Jesus is, what he's saying is, just expect it. Expect that the world is going to hate you. Why? Well, because the world is like Cain. Love one another. Don't be like Cain, who was of the wicked one. And it's a comparison there. So Cain was of the wicked one. He slew his brother. And why did he slay him? Well, because Cain had done wicked things, and Abel, his brother, had done righteous things, right? His own works were evil, and his brother's righteous. So Abel's works were righteous. And then he says, don't marvel if the world hates you. Well, why? It's exactly the same reason as Cain, right? The world's going to hate you because their works are evil and yours are righteous. Remember, John's writing to Christians. He's writing to people who do righteous things. So the world is not going to like you. The world is going to hate you because their works are evil and yours are righteous. And I have a hard time explaining this without going to, where is it? It's John chapter 3. Jesus is speaking to Nicodemus here. We know 16, God so loved the world that he gave not his only begotten son, but I found myself going to this passage here after it more. This is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Sounds a lot like Cain, right? Cain killed his brother because his deeds were evil and Abel's were righteous. Well, look at this. For everyone that does evil hates the light, neither comes to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. And wasn't that exactly what happened to Cain? God rejected Cain's offering and reproved Cain's actions. Said, Cain, why are you wroth? Why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, you'll be accepted. If you don't do well, sin lies at the door, and it will try to master you, but you have to master it. That was not exactly right. Until you shall be its desire, but you shall rule over it. Well, sin's going to try to master you, but you need to master sin. So John says here, everyone that does evil hates the light, neither comes to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Evil people don't want their deeds to be reproved. They don't want that. They don't want evil to be called out or manifested so that people see them as evil. Our image is very important. And when somebody is doing wrong, the last thing they want is to be called out on that. Even we Christians who are trying to follow what is right, even we don't like it when someone calls us wrong. And, hopefully, if somebody comes to us with the scriptures and says, hey, this is what the Bible is saying, and you're going against that, hopefully, because we're followers of Christ, hopefully we have that honest heart where when somebody tells us we're wrong, we can say, okay, I'll fix that. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. But the world doesn't like to be called wrong. Instead, they don't want to come to the light. They hate the light. They stay away from the light because the light calls out sin for what it is. Why is it that so many non-Christians today are so concerned with people, for example, calling homosexuality wrong? Why is it that they want you not only to let them live the way they want? Let's make gay marriage legal. Okay, we have that now in this country. But why is there still a push? Not only do you have to call it legal, but I want you, the Christian, to say it's right. And I want you to accept it as right instead of just accepting me as a person that's, doing wrong. I can treat somebody who's doing wrong kindly, fairly, gently, with love. I can treat them in all of those ways, even though they're doing wrong. But why do they want me to say, well, you're not actually doing wrong, you're doing right? They want to change my mind. Well, it's because evil hates to be reproved. Evil hates to be called out as evil. So we go back to this. Don't marvel. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. All right, verse 14, we know that we've passed from death unto life because we love the brethren. He that loves not his brother abides in death. This is a condition then for being saved. How do you know that you're a Christian? Well, look, one of the reasons, now is this the only reason? We know we've passed from death to life. Well, the only reason that the only indication of being a Christian then is loving the brethren. Is that right? Well, no, there's other things that make you a Christian, and it's not just loving people. But this is one of the things. This is one of the things. Like, for example, the Bible tells us that he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. Therefore, what does that mean? Well, that means that if you're not baptized or you don't believe, then you're not saved. So we could say, we know that we have passed from death unto life because we've been baptized. Yeah, that works too. But here what John is saying is, he's saying, look to see if you love the brethren. Because this is a requirement of being a Christian. If you are a Christian and you do not love the brethren, you don't love your fellow man, and especially your fellow Christians. That's what brethren means here, I believe. If you do not love your brother, you abide in death. That's not Christianity. That's not the place you want to be abiding. And look at this. Whosoever hates his brother is a murderer. Well, John, don't you think you're getting a little, don't you think you're blowing it out of proportion a little bit? Don't you think you're being a little harsh there? Well, once again, we're still in the context of Cain, aren't we? We're still in the context of, look at Cain. Cain was of the wicked one. Cain slew his brother. Why did he slay him? Because his own works were evil. Well, he's saying he's not going to let us off easily because, well, we haven't murdered anybody. Love people. Don't be like Cain. Cain was a murderer. Okay, well, I'm not a murderer. That's fine. Well, John is saying, doesn't matter if you're not a murderer, because if you hate your brother, guess what? Still a murderer. You think, man, that's harsh. But practically speaking, what's the difference between hating your brother and killing and committing murder? Practically speaking, you say, well, you kill somebody, you take away their chance at living. You kill somebody, there's a whole lot of earthly things that are different. If I hate somebody, I just keep that in my mind, and they may live a happy and fulfilled life, and yeah, that's fine. But practically speaking, for your soul, what's the difference? If I hate somebody, can I have eternal life? Look at what it says. No murderer has eternal life abiding in him. So what's the difference between hating somebody? What's the difference between the punishment for hating somebody and the punishment for killing somebody? Is there a difference? Well, he's saying no. You're going to receive the same punishment for killing somebody as you will receive for hating them. And what is that? That's missing out on eternal life. If you hate somebody, you will miss out on eternal life. That's a terrible thing. So we know that we've passed from death to life because we love the brethren. Death to life. Life is, I mentioned in a class recently, Ephesians chapter 2, how we used to follow the path that Satan wants us to walk. I think it was really recently, but let's go there again, because it says, where in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. All right, so we used to do that, but look what it says. It says we've passed from death to life. You're now a Christian. You're now no longer walking according to the path that Satan has set in front of you, but instead you've been quickened. It was in a sermon that I mentioned this. It was Sunday when I preached. I mentioned this. That's when it was. I remember now. You hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sin. Yeah, he's made us alive. So here it says we know we've passed from death to life. We're made alive. How? Well, we love the brethren. If you don't love each other, well, you're a murderer, or you're just as good as a murderer. In God's eyes, hating your brother and committing murder is morally the same thing, isn't it? There are greater physical consequences for murdering somebody, but there are not greater spiritual consequences. And we need to be wary of this. All right. I think that's as far as I want to go today. Hopefully we none of us abide in death, but hopefully we can have this eternal life. This is John keeps bringing up this eternal life. We want to be born of God. We want to be born of God here. We want to, as the sons of God, we want to be like him when he shall appear, for we shall see him as he is. These things, this is the hope of heaven that he's talking about here. And he keeps bringing that up throughout this book and throughout this chapter. We see it a couple of times. So we want this eternal life abiding in him. And John is saying, don't hate your brother. That's all we'll do for today. And thank you so much for, I guess it's a little shorter. I went long on the last, on my last class, the Sermon on the Mount class. I went about a half an hour on that one. So I'll go, right now I'm at about 16 minutes or a little bit more. I started my timer as we began, but we're going to quit here. And I am so glad that each one of you is participating in this class. I'm glad that you've come and you've decided to learn First John or study through First John with me, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm getting a lot out of it, and I hope you are, and I hope that you have a very blessed day.